Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me Kagam. Oh my gosh, today we're going to be talking about the things you shouldn't do at Big H, aka Hermes, aka the Stallion. So I told you guys in a previous video, like, hey, would you be interested in this video? A lot of you told me yes, make this video. So these are the cardinal sins, what you shouldn't do. I need to put a disclaimer because I know I'm going to have people fighting me in the comments. These are generally accepted. So like, in the sort of luxury universe, if you go on Facebook groups, you go on Instagram pages and forums, I feel like everything I'm going to say here is like generally accepted. So to make it fun, I'm going to share the sort of generally accepted cardinal sins, and then I'm going to add in my personal view on some of them, and I'm going to add in some of my own. So let's start off with the first one. I think this is the number one cardinal sin at Big H. Do not, repeat after me everybody, do not mention how much you have spent at the house. That is the first and probably the most important rule. We don't even need to talk in details. We have seen it all over social media. People have said, hey, I spent X amount at the boutique and blah, blah, blah has happened and it hasn't worked out for me. You've heard about it in Facebook groups as well. Like, oh, I spent this amount and how come I'm being ignored? You should never, ever mention spend it to your SA. Now, of course, as usual, there are going to be some unicorn stories, as with all things Hermes. They're always unicorn stories. There'll be some of you who, like I said before, those of you who are grandfathered into a great relationship, so you've been with your SA for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and you've been with the same person, there are some boundaries that can shift a little bit. But broadly speaking, you shouldn't mention spend to your SA. This seems like a cultural thing at Hermes, that they really don't like it when clients say, hey, I spent this amount and how come I don't have a bag? Or hey, I spent this amount a year, you should treat me really, really well. And in a way, I kind of understand it. Whenever I'm researching Big H dragging videos or Chanel dragging videos, you always get people in the comments who are like, hey, I spent so much money. You always get those people in these reviews, whenever they're reviewing luxury stores, saying, I spent X amount. One of my favorite one of my favorite stories I remember was actually about Chanel. I believe it was about the 31 Rue Cambon boutique. And someone had said that he went in there with his girlfriend. This was from a few years ago, because they were saying that there was a bag that cost 2,000 euros. We all know their bags do not cost 2,000 euros anymore. And they were like, we were going to spend 2,000 euros and we're going to take our money elsewhere. It's like 2,000 euros is not even a pinprick, okay, in what the Cambon boutique does per day. So they probably don't care. I feel like mentioning spend at Big H is just something that you're not really supposed to do and you shouldn't really do. Those of you who have great relationships with your SAs, I'm not there. I don't know your relationship with your SA. You can do what you want. I don't really care how long I would have a relationship with an SA. If, let's say, Hermes opened a boutique in Johannesburg, it's still a business. And I think that's something a lot of people, in my opinion, from what I've seen in the luxury community, sometimes people misunderstand those boundaries. At the end of the day, that person works for Big H. They have targets to hit. They need to, deliver on their targets and to make sure that they can still keep working in their job. I think you need to just kind of keep those boundaries there. Generally speaking, I feel like mentioning money in most kind of circles, like mentioning money is always quite taboo. Like talking about how much money you earn, I think it's just, to me, I just find it a bit taboo. Talking about, like, I don't know, even if people, for example, I've had people here ask me, like, how much was, that Louis Vuitton notebook? I'm like, oh, I don't really remember. You don't really want to talk about it because it can get awkward and weird. The next cardinal sin that you should never, ever, ever do, never, ever, ever talk about people in the boutique who have been offered bags if you do not have a bag. This goes without saying. This is broadly speaking. I'm pretty sure this is the same for all of the boutiques worldwide. They really don't like when you do that, especially for quota bags, the Birkin, the Kelly, and the Constance. Some of you have been telling me, hey, the Constance is not a quota bag in my country. Even if they tell you it's not a quota bag, it's treated as a quota bag because it really does kind of hurt at your spend. If it's not a quota bag in your country or in your boutique, it does kind of take away a little bit from you getting like the next bag. So you really shouldn't be mentioning, hey, Kagem got, a Birkin in lime. I asked you for a bright color. How come I don't have one? You're really not supposed to do that. We all know that. That's another like, do not do this, rule. It is what it is. If you want to play the big H game, they've made their rules. You have to decide whether you're gonna, follow it or not. I kind of see where everyone is coming from. I see why it's annoying for clients, but I also see why it can be quite frustrating for essays and Big H as well, because you just constantly have a stream of people whinging and moaning every single day about the fact that, oh, how come, Kagam has a Birkin or a Kelly and I don't have one? The next cardinal sin that we should talk about is, and by the way, this is quite controversial, you shouldn't resell your Coat bags, quite frankly, any of your handbags publicly on social media. And your essay should never know that you have resold it. No, again, I'm going to have some of you fighting me saying, well, my essay knows this and this and this. Yeah, they're all unicorn, like I said, there are always unicorn stories. I personally don't think it's a good idea. I don't care how big your spend is at the store. I think you really need to understand that, at least from what I have researched and I've been told by a lot of you who are also VIPs, they really don't like reselling. Like, I don't know how else to say this. Like, Big H do not like reselling. A few days ago, I was reading this really interesting tidbit. It didn't make it into a video because I didn't think it was interesting enough to be a video. But Miuccia Prada and her husband Patrizio Bertelli, they have their heir apparent to the Prada fortune. He's called Lorenzo Bertelli, and he was saying how Prada might actually be interested in the luxury resale market. Now that's Prada. Prada is a very unique brand with a very unique business strategy and distribution strategy, so it could work out for them. Big H pride themselves on this idea that you get a completely handcrafted bag from an artisan. You go to their super luxurious boutiques and you're given the bag in this like beautiful packaging, and you take it home and it is yours to keep. Hermes really want people who are going to keep their bags and almost have them like heirlooms in the family, and I feel like that's really what they want, and I think that's how they see things. Now some of you be like, well, they just need to get over it, they can't escape resale. No, they can't escape resale, and I want to be clear, I don't have an issue with anyone reselling their personal collection. I think you are allowed to resell your personal collection. I just think if you want to be in good standing at Hermes, you need to be quite savvy about not sharing that on social media. This has literally happened. I've seen this in Facebook groups of people saying that they had a great, relationship with their SA and everything was going really well, and then their SA started acting cold towards them. And I remember one person, this one Facebook thread was like, do you resell your bags on social media? Yes or no? Yeah, sometimes I do. Well, like, your SA seeing that they're fighting to get you quota bags that you're then reselling. Generally speaking, in my opinion, unless you have a unicorn experience, and by the way, unicorn experiences are real, I would not, if I was you, mention reselling to your SA, mention that you have resold an item. I know some of you have told me, I've done that before and it didn't matter. Maybe you think it didn't matter, maybe it didn't matter, but I think you should always play it safe, and I wouldn't risk a chance if I want to keep trying to score quotes back. So like I said, there are always caveats and things like that, but generally speaking, that is one of the cardinal sins that you need to watch out for. The next cardinal sin that you should never do in any of the boutiques, especially the Parisian stores, is throw a tantrum, okay? Because you couldn't get an appointment or you haven't been offered a bag. You should never, ever, ever, ever show your emotions, in my opinion, at any of the Hermes stores. There's so many crazy stories. I have myself shared, whenever I share my Hermes dragging stories, like people crying in the store, people literally crying, tears, like crying in the Hermes boutique because they can't get a quota bag. People yelling at essays, because they can't get a quota bag. You really, really should not be showing your emotions in the store. Why? It makes you look weak, okay? Think of your favorite stallion as a wild horse in the savannah that is literally out there fighting, okay? Hermes, to me, is like kind of like survival of the fittest, but for like luxury shopping. if you cry or get really upset in the store, I feel like that just shows that, in my opinion, like you end up looking to the SAs and to the store manager that you're someone who is getting upset about a luxury fashion item. Yes, it's important. That's why I'm filming this video. That's why you're watching this video, because we're all interested in it and we all like it and we're passionate about it. But at the end of the day, it is a handbag. It is a leather handbag made from a cow skin, okay, or croc skin, or ostrich skin. Like, you cannot lose your cool. And there are just too many stories of people literally crying, yelling at SAs. I've been reading crazy stories about FSH, like whenever I'm like researching FSH for my trip, like people literally crying. Like, imagine how distraught you have to be to burst into floods of tears at FSH. And honey, you are going to meet the Iron Curtain reaction, because they're going to be looking at you like you have a turtle sitting on your head, okay? At the end of the day, I really feel like this is, to me, probably one of the most important cardinal sins. Like, do not cry in the store. Don't get upset in the boutique. If you have been given an L and maybe at the Parisian stores you didn't get an appointment, thank them for their time, smile, and walk out of there. And if you have to cry, cry in the corner, cry outside with your husband, your boyfriend consoling you, you get me, or go back to the hotel and be upset about it. I know there's some of you who are like, oh, I bet you these people who are like crying are like really young. No, there are a lot of stories of like fully grown adult people, you get me, with bills, with a lot of luxury items, who are getting super upset about the fact that, you know, they can't score a bag. Another cardinal sin from Big H is trying to mentioning excuses or milestones so that you can be offered a bag. Now this one I feel like is depends on the relationship with your SA, but I feel like if you're not really spending a lot of money and maybe your offer is like slow to like come through, and you're not buying in those like really hot categories and things like that, I feel like mentioning those milestones all the time. You have to remember that every single day they have people coming into the boutique as walk-ins who are mentioning milestones. They have people who are sending their husbands and boyfriends, okay, to go in there and score for them. Again, mentioning milestones. It's going to be exhausting. I can only imagine after a while, if I was an SA working there and every day someone's like, it's my mom's birthday, it's my parents' anniversary, it's my anniversary, it's my birthday, I just had a baby, I had another baby. You know, yeah, those are all massive, incredible milestones, but I personally don't think that you should be mentioning those types of things, because I don't know, I just kind of feel like it just kind of, I don't know, because they just hear them so much, it's almost redundant for them because they constantly hear them. I think if you have a great relationship with your SA and you're a good customer, you know, I think you saying, hello, you know, I'd like to get a bag for my birthday, I think you probably are going to get a bag for your birthday, you get me? And I think most of them will understand people do want bags for Christmas and their birthdays. I feel like Christmas and birthdays are different things, but if it's like constant, like all the time you're asking for a bag and it's a milestone, you're really going to start annoying people for sure. Another thing that you shouldn't do at Big H, and that people do, okay, and they really don't like it, is filming in the store, filming videos in the store. They really don't. If you look at a lot of the luxury shopping channels that are very successful, even the ones that are super successful, that talk about Big H a lot and that do unboxings, they rarely do in-store vlogs. A lot of the times, the people who are doing in-store vlogs are VIPs. This is just a theory that I have. Like regular in-store vlogs, they are VIPs, because Big H are very strict about pictures. Let me remind you about one of my favorite dragging stories, and this is from the Toronto boutique in Canada. There was a client who was in there looking around. I think the client bought something. The client whipped out their phone, tried to film like a tiny little vlog for their Instagram, social media. The security came over and yelled at them. The client was so embarrassed, felt super humiliated, and went on the Google review to whinge and moan about it. When at the end of the day, You know what time it is, you know? I feel like it's different if you ask the essay, like, hey, can I take a picture of this? I think you need to exercise caution, particularly if you want to maintain your relationship there. Because don't forget, like, the security guard's job is to look at everyone who's in the store. You'll be known as the person who comes into the store all the time with their phone out recording stuff. That could hurt you, particularly in a very competitive boutique where there are a lot of people spending. Don't forget, these luxury stores, they know about us, like luxury pages, luxury bloggers, like they know. And I'm not saying that I'm important enough for them to know about me, and I would be very happy if Big H never knew about me. I hope no essays watch my videos, because I'm not trying to be delisted from Hermes, okay? But they know about like big luxury channels and things like that. So even if you are watching and you're not a blogger, you're not an influencer, it doesn't matter. Be discreet or ask for permission first. Don't be that person who whips out their phone and then you just start, filming because you're so excited to be filming stuff. Be really like discreet. In this one Facebook group I'm in, someone was in this a Hermes store, I think it was a boutique in Europe, and they asked permission to take a picture of a cargo Birkin, and the essay was like, yeah, and the essay was like, thank you for asking me, instead of just like whipping out your phone and trying to take a picture of the cargo Birkin. And we know the cargo Birkin is very, very rare, very, very, very hard to be offered from the boutique, even if you're spending a lot of money in the store. And the person saw it and wanted to take a picture, and they took a picture and shared it, So I think it's just really important to just make sure that you are respecting their rules. Big H are very sensitive about their image and the way their image is portrayed. They really don't like you filming. You're gonna be like, well, Kagem, how come this person filmed in this Hermes store? I don't know about other people. I'm not worried about them. I don't want you guys to have problems when you're trying to score. So generally speaking, always ask for permission first. If you can take a picture or a video, if they say no, accept it, okay? The people who are like big VIPs, they are the ones who generally, from what I have seen, particularly on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, the people who are spending a lot of money at Big H generally are allowed, and they're given much more leeway to take pictures and to take videos than people who aren't. That's just something that I have noticed. My final cardinal sin, okay, is probably one of the most important ones. Don't be angry, moody, or threaten to get your essay fired at Hermes. This is a bit of an odd one. I want to tell you a story of something that I also saw on Facebook. Facebook is lit. Like, Facebook is where all the luxury drama is. It's not on Instagram, you guys. You need to get into Facebook groups, because that's where all the shenanigans are going down. This one's actually about Louis Vuitton, but it can be applied to Big H, because I've seen similar Big H stories. There was a client in a Vuitton group who was complaining about being ignored by their essays. I might actually do a Louis Vuitton essay video as well, because they sound like very interesting people. And someone was saying, you should contact the manager and get the essay fired, And I was like, whoa, that is such an overreaction. Like, you're being ignored by your essay's not dealing with you for whatever reason. Your essay might have their reasons, like maybe you're not spending that much money and they want to focus on clients who are spending more money. I know it's harsh, but guys, it's business. It's not personal. You get me? Like, it's business. And I think more people in the luxury community need to look at this from a business point of view. I would not be mad, okay, if I'm not spending any money in the store and I'm not getting calls back, okay? And then the person was like, yeah, like, you should contact the manager and get them fired. And there were people responding like, whoa, that's way too much. Like, you're doing too much. Like, that's too much. I agree, and I think the same thing can be applied for Big H. I've also seen people say this as well in groups and in forums, like, well, like, if the essay is being so terrible, you should just go straight to the manager. That, in my opinion, I think that's a great way of getting a really bad reputation for yourself in the boutique, particularly if the essay is well liked in that store, and particularly if the essay, maybe it's just a misunderstanding between you and the essay. There was a story that was floating around in a lot of luxury groups and forums about essays at Big H do not like to talk about quota bags anymore via SMS, via text message on the phone, after an essay in a boutique in America that I'm not going to mention got sacked because something happened. I think someone was promised a quota bag, it didn't happen, and that person lost their job. I don't think anyone should be losing their job over a Birkin, a Kelly, or a Constance. I'm sorry, no. And I think if you are not having a good experience with your essay, I think you should just gently ask to be moved to someone else. I don't think you should talk down to your essay, be rude to your essay, or definitely threaten getting someone sacked from their job. I actually think when people try and do those kind of, what they think are boss moves, which by the way are not boss moves, that's very weak, okay? When people try and do things like that, what might actually happen is, let's say you think that the essay is not being responsive, right? And you then go to the manager and you're like, hey, this person's not being responsive. I think this person's really rude, and I think this person should lose their job. You, I think, would end up making yourself look really, really bad if that person isn't responding, because maybe you're not buying things that they need you to buy, so they can't hit their numbers through you. I think sometimes people forget, like, essays have jobs, they have targets. I was reading this one post that an essay wrote on Glassdoor. I was reading reviews of Louis Vuitton. Some Louis Vuitton boutiques, some essays have $175,000 a month as a monthly target. Now, they're not going to hit that target, honey, okay, selling you like key pouches made from canvas, okay? They need to sell those luggages. They need to sell exotics, okay? They need to sell those on-the-goes in Emprunt. You get me? So, like, and I think that's the same thing for Hermes. Like, Hermes have pooled commissions, but they have targets as well. So I think it's just really important. Make sure you speak to people respectfully. Big H essays are notorious in the luxury community for not responding to clients, for ignoring people, for not responding to emails, not responding to messages. It's well known in the luxury community that those are the types of shenanigans. Even if you're being ignored, I would just politely ask you move to someone else, but don't threaten that person, don't talk down to that person, because that person might have pull in the boutique, and then you might find yourself B-listed and iced out from everyone there, and then you're struggling to score. I know people think that they're being tough and being bosses, like, well, I'm gonna get that person fired. Don't do that. You might get yourself fired from getting a Birkin, a Kelly, or a Constance. Those are my general cardinal sins from all of the research that I've done. I must say, I think for me, out of all the cardinal sins, I think people who are reselling on like your personal account, I think you need to stop. Like, if you're reselling on your personal account and your essay follows you, by the way, Hermes essays do that. The Hermes essays everywhere in a lot of these Facebook groups as well. They are everywhere, and they're like literally in groups just quietly watching. They are there, okay? And then you're like posting in groups on Instagram like, hey, I'm selling this, I just got offered this in the boutique, but I'm selling it. Trust me, okay? You will be a marked person, okay? It'll be like, we're not gonna offer her no more Kellys, okay? Because she's just gonna go on Facebook and try and sell it for a profit. I would watch out for that one, and I think also just being nice and kind. It costs nothing to smile, even if the essay's moody and mad at you and whatever. Don't let them like kind of make your game face crack. You know, that's kind of how I see it. I'd love to know what you think are the things that people should not do. Please, by the way, don't fight me in the comments about certain things that I said. They're always going to be unicorn stories. There's some of you who are grandfathered into great relationships, but don't get comfortable now. Okay, don't start telling your essay, hey, you offered me that Birkin 35, I sold it, okay? You might find yourself not getting it back in the future. You guys, if you like what I'm doing, please consider fully subscribing to my channel, hitting notifications, and giving this video a thumbs up if you liked it. I'm very active on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, and I have my Facebook group. I would love to see you guys in my Facebook group. It's really popping over there, honestly. Like, we're doing great over there, and the group is growing every single day. I'd love if you guys would like to join as well. I got a question the other day about the group, like, what can we post about in the group? All of the rules are in the group. And it's a very fun, no drama group, but you'll be posting about luxury brands, luxury shopping. That's what we do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow in my next video.